everybody to the culture of. Yep, another episode, second regular episode of 2026. And we started talking about reinvention because the beginning of the year and all that good jazz.
Mm-hmm.
And today's going to be about belief systems. But before we get into that, we ask that you like, subscribe. If you're watching us on YouTube, you know what? Hit that subscribe button. Word on the street is it helps us out.
It does.
And it's free. Okay? Simple click. Share, comment, join in the conversation with us. Also follow us on the audio platforms so that you know when our next episode's coming up. And with that said, my name, Gary J. Nix, your co-host. And to my left, as always,
Always.
partner in business.
Yes. Always happy to be here with bells on just after the holidays. Amber Chenevert. Very excited to have our discussion today about the culture of belief systems in advertising.
Yes. I feel like this is going to be extra interesting because it's not necessarily just belief systems around advertising.
Mhm.
It's belief systems inside of advertising,
Mhm.
what people believe business actually means.
Mhm.
This has way more depth than I initially thought it would. But I like when it happens.
Oh, yes. I'm very excited to have this conversation because I had the same response in our production meeting. Like, I didn't even think about that. So just to make sure we bring everybody along, I think before we get into the tension, which I always like to do, we have to talk about, okay, well, what are some of these belief systems to sort of set the stage, right? So see if you've heard any of these before. Innovate, but wait until someone else does it first. There's another one from our tech friends. Move fast and break things.
Yep.
Let's see. Another one is we need to win the category. Or also we need to own this space. We need to win the category. We need to own this space. It needs to be ours. Product is hero. That's another belief system. Sales over everything.
Yep.
Do more with less.
Yeah.
Did I miss anything?
I mean, if you did, I feel like they're just really derivatives of those, basically. That do more with less. That just hit me as a former agency person.
Sure.
And I'm sure that hits you as a present.
All the time.
And
all the time. We're there.
Yes.
We're there. We're trying to make it work all the time. But I think the other thing that came up when we talked about is that these belief systems are not necessarily all wrong all the time.
Correct.
They're belief systems that also continuously deserve critique and challenge. But we also know, as marketing and advertising educators, teaching both undergrad and graduate students, that these belief systems are actually grounded in how marketers and advertising folks are trained.
Correct. Like
this historic idea of, these belief systems being tracked to a one-to-many sort of marketing scheme where there were these big media channels that spoke to millions and millions of people, and it was really just a one-way communication. And now we can have those one-on-one conversations at scale. So that brings us to the tension.
Correct. And once again, the belief systems that you listed, they were of a time. And because of the understanding of basic principles, they're not built from nothing.
pause because you said basic principles, and we still have to do a show dedicated to Hitch. I will not let us forget, but please continue.
Yeah. That's going to be like the wish list episode
Mhm.
when Will Smith happens to be in New York for some reason and comes to actually record with us.
Okay.
Yes, I just put that in.
We just go ahead and claim that.
Yeah,
Because you never know who somebody knows somebody who knows somebody.
exactly.
Okay, we're just gonna claim that.
But it's really just something about the conversations of whether something is simply wrong
Mhm.
or is outdated or maybe doesn't hold as much value as it once did, but it did help us get to something else.
Right.
Right. So let's, go ahead and kind of just talk about and kind of decode these systems.
Mhm.
Which one should we start with?
One of my personal favorites, innovate, but wait till someone else does it first.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder if that's a belief system of people who work with companies. Like maybe not the companies themselves, but for me, for sure,
Mhm.
it feels like the results of observation and experience with a lot of places.
Yes, and what I will say is, um, the innovate part is out loud.
Mm-hmm.
The but wait till someone else does it first is the whisper.
Yeah.
Innovate, but wait till someone does it first.
Right.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because we need proof that the thing that we're trying to do that's new works.
Right.
And it's not necessarily, it's different in like pharmaceutical firms, right? Because they have the lab, they're testing, they got to go through and make sure the innovation is not going to kill somebody, right? You got to do that due diligence.
Sounds like a good idea.
Right? But then once you get that clearance, you could go to market. It's like we kind of have lab opportunity by way of doing marketing research, but it's still not a fail safe, right? Like when you're doing lab stuff and people aren't going to die, right? So there's like this desire to be that new and next. But the hesitation is like, wait, but we don't do it like that. We've never done it before.
Mm-hmm. So with that said, does that take us directly into move fast and break things?
Yes, because I would suggest that move fast and break things was a direct push potentially against that, particularly in sort of that late 90s, early 2000s, like tech boom, right?
That tech boom in extreme days.
Right, exactly. Where we had like what do we have? The dot-com bust, and then there was all of this like, refiguring what's working, social media took off, et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
And they were the disruptors. Right. And so move fast and break things is like really more of a disruptive kind of attitude and perspective on how we get there. And I'm like, I think it's really easy to move fast and break things when you have $1 billion.
Mm-hmm.
But when you're like scraping at every penny, that can be really tough. That can be really difficult. And so again, it's one of those that deserves critique. But to your point, I think it was a direct kind of push against like the innovate but the quiet part softly. But wait,
Yeah, and I think also just it's the fast part is about speed, right?
Mm-hmm.
If we go that one level deeper,
yeah.
Technology definitely made it where people want to move faster.
Mm-hmm.
The desire to be first has not left.
Yeah.
I think some of the bravery of being first has left.
Mm-hmm.
And in many ways is justified. It's just the thought of what does fast actually means. If we're looking at it in a car, are we drag racing or are we NASCAR F1 racing, right? Drag race, generally speaking, straight line,
Mm-hmm.
sprint. Yes, you have to control the power of the engine and all that fun stuff so you don't spin out and just fly off or whatever. But generally speaking, you can be way faster if you know you're moving in a straight line.
Mm-hmm.
Introduce some curves, you got to slow down.
Mm-hmm.
You're not slowing down to a stop, but you have to recognize more. You need to have more caution on that turn than you do on the straightaway.
Mm-hmm.
So, being that we all should know in any type of business, any path looks more like cooked pasta than dry pasta.
Mm-hmm.
We have to do a better job, in my opinion, on understanding what speed actually needs to mean. Move, is it fast or is it quick? Depends on how you define each one, right? Because you still do want to try these new things. You still do, budget notwithstanding.
Yeah.
You do want to do better,
Mm-hmm.
at least in theory.
Yeah, and I think probably from our perspective, a more nuanced consideration of move fast and break things is potentially test and learn, because we have the ability to do that at scale
Yeah.
a lot cheaper than we did back in the day when we were in a one to many scenario as far as marketing communication.
Mhm.
And we touched on that a little bit with the last episode. But test and learn means that we can break some of the traditional ways that we've gone to market, because now we can, because of digital, we can, go market to market. We can test in a market that kind of looks like the nation, and say, well, if this works here, then we can scale, to like the next city, and we see if that works there, then we can scale to like 10 cities, and we can do a rollout in that way, and then we can learn along the way.
Right.
And then and we can change and adjust our messaging as we're rolling out, right? You used to not be able to do that back in the day because you had these big production systems and budgets, and you only really got one shot at it. And so you had to do a lot of market research and testing and things before you even went into market, because by the time you went into market, it needed to be pretty much perfect.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have to do that now. We can get in market faster with less perfection and perfect along the way, because we have the tools and the ability and technology to be able to do that fast where we didn't before. So maybe there's a test and learn that's a little bit more digestible than just, what was that? Move fast and break things.
Yeah. And also, I mean, it's a test and learn of what perfection actually means. Right?
Yeah.
Because now with the segmentation, like, is perfection actually scale through segmentation, where it's like the sum of local is global
Yeah.
sense.
Mm-hmm.
That saying it that way specifically is a bit reductive, but it's it's just to kind of use as an illustrative point.
Yeah, pretty much.
So yeah, that's okay. That's we're gonna check that one off, because I feel like we solved it if people actually listen to us. Which that's always fun, whether they listen, because we know what we're talking about and we try to help, and when they listen, they actually tend to find success. But another story for another podcast.
Yes.
So what's going to be the next one? Because I feel like now we're getting to the ones that is just like, ugh, but makes sense in terms of the way communication worked at one time.
Okay, so let's talk about ownership. So we could put these two together. We need to win the category.
Mhm.
Excuse me. We need to own this space. That is a belief.
Yes. So
Mhm.
I feel like the ownership part is way more connected to the general subject of this project or this podcast.
Mm-hmm.
When I heard an agency that will go without being named, they had a webinar, and that was kind of the open.
Mm-hmm.
We need to own culture. And it was good that it was a webinar, because if it was in person, I would have flipped everything that was flippable in there.
I bet I know who and what you're talking about, but continue.
Yeah. And the unmitigated gall
Mm-hmm.
to think that that's something that could be owned.
Because culture is a set of values, conventions, and social practices that guide people's lives and give them a foundation of who they are, what they believe, what they want to fight for, and what their future could look like, and what they want to pass down to their people and their children. But I mean, I digress. Go ahead.
Right. And the whole ownership thing, like, I get it. It comes from a point of, it's my belief, it comes from a point of competitive energy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's, in that sense, own and win are almost exactly the same,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the market ownership. It's the market share piece of owning something. It's we want to be the Google of search, right?
Mm-hmm.
We want to be almost the commoditized name of something, right?
Mm-hmm.
If someone says that we're talking about this thing, whatever it is, in this example culture, we are the first people or the first entity that they think about.
Mm-hmm.
So from that perspective, I get it, but only from that perspective, only from that desire, because you don't have to own something like that or you don't have to own it to be synonymous with it.
And you don't have to own it to be the go-to. Because if you're talking about, because in 2026 and beyond, and even before, we started talking a lot as brands and services as partnership,
Mm-hmm.
as being relational, as being that go-to. That's also tied to product as hero too, because we could unpack that a little bit
Oh, we're gonna
as
get to that.
by way of go-to. But with the ownership thing, I think again, we talked about how these belief systems have that one to many perspective,
Mm-hmm.
but ownership doesn't necessarily communicate where we are now, which is that one to one at scale. Like, if I can have a conversation with you, you can't own the conversation and us be in relationship.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that's not a relationship. That's just you talking at me, not with me. That's you being an overlord over me versus us being in relationship and like benefiting each other.
Mm-hmm.
You provide a service or a product for me that makes sense in my life, that solves a problem for me. I give you money for that. That is an exchange. In the same way, now, there is that conversation that's expected. I don't like something. What do? I put up a review. I let you know, and then I let a million of my closest friends know as well with the click of a button,
Mm-hmm.
And so I still think that there are brands and also, marketers that might have trouble dealing with that shift in mindset. But there is something about being relational that is missing in ownership.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just to kind of just zoom back out really quickly, if we're talking we own culture and the system is one to many,
Mm-hmm. One to
that
many at
should
scale.
that should
Well,
really just point out what's exactly wrong with saying that.
right. Well, one to many is the old school way,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And then one to one at scale is where we're at right now.
hmm Yeah, but I think it's the fact that sometimes it definitely feels like a lot of these places are still operating as if one too many is the way,
Yes.
or as if it's the way they're trying to go back to.
Yes.
They're trying to fight the fact that it's one to one at scale now
Mm-hmm.
instead of one to many, which it once was.
Mm-hmm.
But they're just like they're holding on to the one to many because that's what it was. That's what's comfortable.
Mm-hmm.
That's what feels like it should be. In some ways, it still is. It's like it's not completely just one to one at scale. One to one at scale is what it should be. In a sense, it's what it always should have been, but it just wasn't. It was very difficult, if not impossible, to do before the digital technology,
Mm-hmm.
before that boom, before social, before all of that.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that whole thing does bring us, like you said, to the product as hero.
Mm-hmm.
And you had touched on it when you were talking about the company, the brand is like, well, we have this product or service. It helps you, it fulfills your need. You give us money.
Mm-hmm.
So the product is hero. In a one too many paradigm, it does make sense.
Mm-hmm.
That product is the superhero. That's the thing that serves the need. It does it well. The person is satisfied. The consumer is satisfied. And they will come back to that product or service
Mm-hmm.
when it's time, when they need that thing again.
Mm-hmm.
But businesses do not live in a vacuum. Businesses need something to survive. What is that thing? Money.
Mm-hmm.
Most commonly as revenue.
Mm-hmm.
So now, if the product is the hero for the consumer, who's the hero for the company? Is it the product or is it the person paying for it?
Is that a question for me?
I mean, we could just leave it out there, or if you want to, actually, I do want your full perspective on that, of course, because this is our podcast. I need your words on this too.
I mean, because we could let it sit in the air for a second, but I feel like we don't have to really do that because the people can pause if they want to. Here's what I'll say. It should be the person. It should be the human. That should be the brand's hero. But AI is presently the hero of the day. And as I've said before on this podcast, but who's buying? Are the human people still buying the things? Do we still need people to buy stuff? We do need people to be working.
Yeah.
So anyway, I could go on a tangent, but I'll stop there and say, because the humans are still the ones who are buying, the humans and the people should be the hero of the brand. That's what I think.
Right. And I still remember around between 2013 and 2015 seeing brand loyalty is dead blog posts and articles and the like.
Forgive my eye roll.
No, I was a good eye roll. May not have been sufficient enough, actually. Who knows? Like, maybe your eye should have rolled onto the table, actually. But once again, it's a little attention-y. Well, a lot of attention-y. Um, Another one of those, hey, look at me um, type headlines, but it also all too often became a hey, look at me article.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I remember around a time that everything was dead. So I decided to join in and write something called Demographics Are Dead.
Okay.
Which I recently found again. So I'm going to put it back up. But, you know, even in the article, it's like, okay, now that I got your attention, let's have a real conversation about it. Right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Matter of fact, a little bit reinvention-y, right? It's some of the belief of what demographics actually were versus what they represented
Mm-hmm.
was dead. One of the early lessons in the semester when I'm teaching is about demographics and not exactly how they're dead, but how they were once all we had. That was the most we had at one point.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So that's what we relied on. We got access to more information. So demographics is a starting point. It's not the end point that it once was.
Mm-hmm.
And I think product is the hero is a good example of that's where we were. That's a starting point. We had to expand.
Mm-hmm.
Because, yes, if your product or service is serving someone sufficiently, it is a hero.
Mm-hmm.
But where is your hero? And if
Mm-hmm.
your hero is the person, that should also come out in your communications as well.
Yeah.
Who is celebrating you? One of the things I heard yesterday, not for the first time, and this is not my saying by any stretch of the imagination,
Mm-hmm.
but people will go where they're celebrated, not just where they're tolerated.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, I just thought of one that I forgot about. A belief system. Surprise and delight.
Oh, okay.
And I just thought about that because of the companies that will find ways to celebrate their consumers.
Mm-hmm. So do we think that surprise and delight, excuse me, let me rephrase. Do you believe that surprise and delight is enduring?
I believe it's endearing,
Okay.
but not necessarily enduring.
Okay, tell me why.
Surprise and delight, at least in the way that it's been executed in my experience,
Mm-hmm.
is done in moments. And moments do matter,
Mm-hmm.
for sure. But it feels like there needs to be some other extension of that that is more sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
So it feels more like a starting point, a great starting point, but there's room for more with surprise and delight.
Well, the reason why I would think that it could be more enduring is because that becomes a customer experience strategy tentpole
Mhm.
that we have designed and experienced from awareness to purchase to evangelism. And at each stage, we can decide that that is a job to be done.
Mhm.
Is that piece? So to me, it can be enduring as it relates to like how the customer experiences the brand at every point in turn. But when we're talking about mass communication, I don't know. That's
Right.
pretty tough.
Yeah.
Um, unless you're in kind of a one-to-one space, but even then, it's difficult to scale that, but can be done in the experience, I think.
Yeah, and I think you can see it more in just inherently experiential spaces, right? So if you're thinking
Mhm.
about hospitality, hospitality is all about surprise and delight.
Yes.
In other places, it's more just moments, which yes, there can be tentpole moments in experience for sure.
Mhm.
Um, but how often do you do it? Like the execution part of it helps define whether it's just endearing or enduring.
Mhm.
But another great point, uh, as always.
All right, let's keep it going. Um what okay, do more with less.
If that's not vibes, I don't know what is.
Yes.
All I see is the meme, the advertising industry meme of the life and pie still, the still from life and pie, life of
Mhm.
pie. I mean,
Mhm.
and then like the version, it was all a budget meme. Like they
Mhm.
want this, and
Mhm.
here's the budget, and it's like an orange tabby cat and someone like in a bathtub
Mhm.
set up, So it's just like, still, you know what? Because I want to give it whatever credit it can get,
Mhm.
and overspending can be a thing.
Mhm. Mhm.
You know,
Mhm.
it's I feel like it's too often used as a way to say that we're not giving you more money,
Mhm.
even though you actually probably do need it.
Mhm.
But sometimes it's okay. This is what the budget is. You cannot get Willard Smith for William Smith money,
Mhm.
right? It's you want to. It seems to be my favorite word these 2 weeks. Maximize
Mhm.
what you have. You want to be able to use every single dollar and penny as much as you possibly can. So it's not that it's completely untrue. It's just that the experience of when you hear about it or when someone says that, when a client says that, it's annoying.
It is, but I will also say that I am aware of certain clients, not mine necessarily, but I'm aware of clients in certain companies, particularly with CPG, where if they do really well with the budget they have,
Yeah.
their budget is more likely to get cut and shifted some funds to a brand that didn't do as well.
Mhm.
So it's almost like you could be getting you could get praise, you could get your bonus, you could even get promoted, but it's almost a punishment
Right.
for doing well. It's like, "Oh, you did really well with what you had. Okay, now do well, do with less," right?
Yeah.
And so that's happening on the brand side, right? And then of course that impacts, the agency side and that kind of thing. Um but I think also the add of AI trips the vibes up, right? Because the buzz in the air is, of course, and you got this, and of course you can do more with less.
But does it disrupt the vibe if you're vibe coding?
Say that one more time.
Does it disrupt the vibe if you're vibe coding?
Say more.
Um, well, I'll start off with this. I'm speed being a smartass. And two, there's just a conversation about whether vibe coding is good or not. Like basically like coding off of vibes or like letting uh kind of just allowing the the code to kind of figure things out a little bit or it's just an interesting thing that vibes even got to coding in this way in the general or even just the technological zeitgeist.
Hmm.
Um, and now it's feels like it's going to be an episode like sometime later this year. Because I would actually, I'm becoming more interested in that conversation now, and would like to get someone, a guest, to speak more about that because I think that as with all things AI, there's so much that is not understood that having an expert to talk about the reality, someone who knows that AI is not the answer on its own, but here's the questions that it can answer,
Hmm.
would do a great job of doing alongside us.
Heard.
And I know we know people. As a matter of fact, there's someone that's in my head right now that we'll reach out to.
Cool.
But did we get all the beliefs list?
We didn't get sales over everything, but
Yeah.
I think that that's kind of that's one of those that's like
It's gonna come up. It's come up
gonna
before,
come
it'll come
up.
up again.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for now, we're going to let this episode sit. And once again, invite you to like, subscribe, follow, share, comment, engage with us. We are here for a reason, and that reason is you. So until next time, on behalf of my co host,
Yes.
we will see you soon.